It's a new day in the workroom. I'm still here. But at this moment, I feel like I haven't truly showcased my abilities to the other queens. I haven't received any critiques from the judges yet, neither good nor bad. I hope to shake things up after Meg's top 2 performance. Just like my dad said, it's now my turn, and you're damn right it is.
The queens gather in the workroom, offering congratulations to both Meg and Starmie for their victory and top 2 placement the previous week. They express their gratitude, with Lashana thanking them again, remarking on the difficulty of the decision, and asserting that Panther should not have been at the bottom with her. Starmie agrees with Lashana, suggesting that it should have been Penelope in Panther's place. A shocked Penelope counters, claiming her runway was far superior to Pink Panther's and, notably, Lashana's. When Lashana inquires about her meaning, Penelope critiques Lashana's drag as pedestrian and basic. Lola and Jessica laugh, agreeing with the assessment. Jessica tells her this is all stars and to step it up, while Lashana defends herself, stating she has plenty of other impressive drag at her station. Lola advises her to watch her station closely. Mrs. Garrison intervenes, telling Lola to knock it off and acknowledging to Lashana that while her last runway was good, it wasn't great, but it was nice. Lashana responds, thanking her for the backhanded compliment. Meanwhile, Peppa Pig begins to cry.
Why the hell is she crying? Is it because she's not getting any attention? Well, actually do better in the challenges then, you stupid pig. She's starting to annoy me. She should have been gone episode 1 and Sailor Saturn should have still been here.
The Pretty Girl Alliance all rolled their eyes. Lashana asked Peppa what was wrong, and Peppa replied that she was upset because Pink Panther wasn't there and she missed her family terribly. Jessica giggled and told her it wouldn't be long before she joined them. Lola agreed, saying it would happen this episode, and advised Peppa to start packing her drag away. Mrs. Garrison agreed, stating it was Peppa's time to leave. Peppa, in tears, reminded Mrs. Garrison of their reconciliation, to which Mrs. Garrison replied that while they had made up, she still doesn't like Peppa, and that Peppa needed to quote Jessica Rabbit, "step it up," or "step out," of the competition. Lola, jokingly, asked the producers if it was time for the mini-challenge yet, before another Griffin member could come and attack her, to which a producer simply nodded.
I am so over her and her crocodile tears, faking panic attacks, going out for some so-called fresh air and now crying. She needs to go and I'll happily send her home, and so will the rest of the Pretty Girl Alliance. Clock that tea.
Starmie wins the mini-challenge.
Poor Peppa. I feel sorry for her. Everyone she's close to has left the competition. We're pretty close as well, so maybe I should keep my distance before I'm next. Just kidding, haha. But seriously, I won the mini challenge, and I also won last week's maxi challenge and lip sync, so these queens are starting to see what I'm capable of. Just a little taste for now.
My all-stars, the stars are out and shining brighter than ever, because this week we are playing the Snatch game. Bring your best celebrity impressions, make me laugh and you'll have this in the bag. Good luck and don't F it up.
The Snatch game, the challenge I've been waiting for, and I am ready for it. This challenge is a House of Griffin staple. We all have won Snatch game except for Stewie, so he has a lot of pressure on him this week. He has to win a challenge and win the Snatch game. Good luck, kid.
Oh yes, the Snatch game. I kept the Griffin streak alive by winning my season's Snatch game. If my dad was intense last week, I can only imagine what this week will be like. I've chosen the perfect character. I'm going to play Mila Kunis, wink wink. I'm confident I can keep my winning streak going.
The queens regroup. Lola asked the queens how they all did on their Snatch games, and shades Starmie, asking did she even do a Snatch game back on her season. Starmie laughed and said to her yes we did and it was great. Lola shades her again, asking her if she knows how she placed. Starmie again laughed and said she was only safe but she's been practicing. Mrs. Garrison said she won her Snatch game and looks to Peppa and tells her to let the queens know how bad she did. Jessica smirks and asked Peppa how she did, to which Peppa said she was low. Stewie and Penelope said they were only safe on their season. Peter shakes his head and tells Stewie this is the challenge he has to win. Peter said he won his Snatch game and Jessica said she'd rather not say. Lola looks at her and says come on girl, we are all saying our placements, and Lola admits to being low on her season, prompting laughter from Lashana and Meg. Lola mocks them, and said, low, haha, then rolls her eyes. Jessica tells them she was also low, and she's so nervous for the Snatch game, and walks off. The pretty girls follow her. Peter said there's an emergency House of Griffin meeting and everyone splits up.
Oh no, what does this man want now? I just want to prepare for the Snatch game. I've decided to impersonate my best friend Brian. He didn't get to participate in the Snatch game, he was the pork chop of season 2. I miss him.
The pretty girls comforted Jessica, who admitted she was nervous about the challenge. Mrs. Garrison asked why, given she's an amazing queen. Jessica acknowledged this but noted the presence of many Snatch Game powerhouses like Mrs. Garrison, the Griffins, Lashana, and Starmie. Penelope jokingly said, "What about me?" prompting everyone to look at her. Mrs. Garrison humorously remarked that Penelope would need a miracle, eliciting laughter from the group. Jessica thanked them and requested a moment alone to get into character. They agreed, and Lola mentioned she was off to eavesdrop on the Griffins' emergency meeting, chuckling. Mrs. Garrison inquired about her intentions, to which Lola replied, "You'll see," and laughed.
I'm not sure what Lola is planning, maybe another sabotage attempt. I mean, I love hanging out with you, you're funny, but let's get serious and aim for the win. Oh no, I'm starting to sound like Peter. I do feel for my sister Jessica, she's quite anxious about this challenge. Unlike her, I'm not worried. I won the Season 3 Snatch game, and I'm confident I'll win this one too. I've been performing well in this competition, and I intend to keep up the momentum.
Starmie, noticing Lola, asks her what she's doing. Lola tells her to be quiet as she's trying to listen to the meeting. Starmie responds whatever, saying she's getting ready for the challenge, to which Lola just scoffs. Peter inquires of Meg and Stewie about their chosen characters. Meg answers Mila Kunis, and Stewie says Brian Griffin. Peter informs them they won't be doing those characters but will do The Simpsons instead. Stewie questions why, and Peter, insisting on no more questions, directs them to get into character. He points to Meg, telling her she'll be Lisa who was on Season 4, and Stewie will be Bart Simpson, while Peter will take on Homer Simpson from Season 1. Meg protests, expressing her desire to be Mila Kunis instead of Lisa. Peter retorts that if that's her choice, then she's out of the House of Griffin. Lola smirks at this exchange. Stewie pleads with Meg to participate, promising it will be fun. Convinced by Stewie, Meg agrees to do it for him, and they share a bonding hug. Peter commends Meg's spirit, and he and Stewie leave to rehearse. Meg promises to catch up but starts crying at the table. Lola tells Meg that she couldn't help but overhear and assures her that she's there for her. Meg, skeptical, questions Lola's intentions. Lola responds that there's no ulterior motive. She genuinely feels sorry for Meg, considering her mother's in jail and her father's domineering nature. She believes Meg can thrive independently, questioning if she really needs the House of Griffin. Meg, still tearful, warns Lola to back off, asserting she's not just a background figure in her family drama. Lola counters that if Meg is content on being forgettable, she might as well conform to her father's wishes and be Lisa Simpson. But if Meg ever decides to escape the Griffin spectacle, Lola lets her know where to find her and then walks away. Lashana, Peppa, and Starmie join Meg. Lashana embraces Meg, who admits she needed the hug and confides in Lashana that she's at a loss. She loves her father but he's becoming overwhelming. Lashana advises Meg that if she were in her shoes, she would leave the House of Griffin because, in this competition, it's every queen for herself. Starmie concurs, adding that Peter is selfish and won't allow his children to outshine him. Grateful for their counsel, Meg informs them it's not as easy as that when there is family involved and she must leave to rehearse with Peter and Stewie. Peppa wishes her luck.
Poor Meg, she's my girl, my sister. I'd do anything for her, she's my best friend, and it's upsetting to see her this way. I blame Peter entirely, and then there's Lola, trying to stir up trouble too. I thought we were going to have a blast like on Season 7 when I saw her on Episode 1, but not with Peter around. I need him out, and the Pretty Girl Alliance dismantled, Lola first, then Jessica, followed by Penelope, and finally, Mrs. Garrison. I'll save her for last, she's the strongest competitor right now, and I want to beat the best.
Peter Griffin will be Homer Simpson, Stewie will be Bart Simpson, Meg will be Lisa Simpson, Lashana will be Oprah, Starmie will be Adele, Peppa Pig will be Miss Piggy, Lola will be Angelina Jolie, Jessica will be Marilyn Monroe, Penelope will be Dolly Parton, Mrs. Garrison will be Donald Trump, Peter Griffin, Starmie, Mrs. Garrison and Lashana slayed the challenge.
Another Snatch game, another slay. I am quite confident that the House of Griffin will dominate this challenge once again. My concept of embodying the Simpson family was bound to succeed. Meg and Stewie, I apologize, but Dad indeed knows best.
Mrs. Garrison is slaying a challenge once more. Who knew? Well, I did. I'm aware of my capabilities as a queen, and I'm pleased that RuPaul recognizes who Mrs. Garrison is. I should have claimed the Season 3 crown, but I'll settle for the All-Stars 3 crown instead. Me and Peter in the top 2 again. It's possible, but I guess we have our runways to showcase first.
Meg and Stewie had a great performance.
I'm surprised I managed to keep it together during the Snatch game, especially after my breakdown earlier today. However, I'm feeling much better now. Just like my previous Snatch game, I delivered a strong performance and had RuPaul laughing quite a bit. I feel I could be at the top again.
I'm so pleased with my performance. I had a few laughs and think I did much better than in my first Snatch game. I would have loved to have been Brian instead of Bart Simpson, but that's what my father wanted, and although his mind confuses me sometimes, it seemed to work out well.
Lola, Penelope Pitstop and Peppa Pig had a good performance.
My Snatch game performance was decent, not the best, but I believe it was an improvement from my Season 3 attempt. I narrowly avoided landing in the bottom, and for this week, I'm hoping to stay safe. I'm aware that I didn't garner many laughs, but I'm asking for just one more week of safety. After that, it's time for Peppa to step up to the challenges.
I did alright. I believe it's enough to sustain me for another week. There are other competitors, cough Peppa Pig cough, who performed worse than I did. However, I think I managed to get into Meg's head earlier. I need the Griffins to start slipping because they're tough competition, and I want my alliance to remain strong until the finale.
Jessica Rabbit had a bad performance.
I let my nerves get the better of me in this challenge. I gave it my all, but in All Stars, you need to be the best to make it through another week. I fear I might be at the bottom tonight, but I'm hoping my runway look can save me. It's absolutely stunning, and I believe the judges will adore it.
On the runway, category is Night of 1000 RuPauls, Lashana and Penelope Pitstop slayed the runway.
I was somewhat anxious about this challenge, having only been safe in the Season 7 Snatch game, but tonight, I believe I could land in the top 2 and make up for my bottom 2 placement last week. I excelled in both the challenge and the runway, so I feel I deserve a top spot. However, the judging has been somewhat unpredictable lately. Looking at you, Miss Penelope Pitstop.
The judges adored my runway once more, and I can tell these queens are jealous. I've handled jealous queens during my pageant days in the South. Just as Mrs. Garrison said, I would need a miracle to win tonight, but with this dress, I might have just found it.
Mrs. Garrison, Peter Griffin, Stewie Griffin and Peppa Pig had a great runway.
Damn, I looked amazing on this runway. I definitely was one of the pretty girls tonight. I can honestly see myself back in the top.
Starmie, Meg Griffin, Lola and Jessica Rabbit had a good runway.
The Snatch game was a blast. Although some queens didn't do well, Jessica comes to mind. Meanwhile, others, including myself, absolutely nailed it. I'm confident in my performance and believe it could secure me a top spot for a second week. However, I'm concerned that my runway look might not impress, despite my love for it, as it didn't get much reaction from the judges.
I'm aware that I'm likely facing elimination tonight. My performance in the Snatch game was a disaster, and the judges were not impressed with my runway. I realize I can't even prepare for the lip sync because my fate is in the hands of another queen. Perhaps I should have remained silent during last week's Untucked. My only hope now is that 2 of the pretty girls are in the top this week, for my own safety.
Welcome to the judges panel. First, she is our all-star resident judge, she is Daphne, and our extra special guest judge, she is actress and activist, she is Jane Fonda. Now let the judging commence. Lashana and Mrs. Garrison, congratulations, you are the top 2 all-stars.
Wow, I feel amazing right now, in the top 2 alongside Mrs. Garrison, who has been slaying this competition but hasn't won a lip sync yet, and girl, she won't be tonight either. But thank you so much RuPaul, that bottom placement last week really woke me up.
What can I say? My 3rd time in the top 2, clock it, 3rd. Thank you RuPaul, but I actually want to win a lip sync this time. And there is not a single member of the House of Griffin in the top for Snatch game. I know Peter is going to be pissed.
Starmie, good job this week, you are safe.
I'm thrilled to place high this week. I believe I could have been at the top, but I acknowledge my runway performance wasn't the best. I'm genuinely happy for Lashana, she deserves it, and it seems I made the right decision last week by keeping her here.
That means, Penelope Pitstop, Jessica Rabbit and Peppa Pig, you are the bottom queens. Penelope Pitstop, you are safe.
Oh, thank you once again RuPaul. I personally believe I didn't deserve this placement, I should have been safe. But once again, my runway look saved me from the bottom. I'm really loving my designer right now.
2 top all-stars stand before me. Ladies, the time has come. Would you lip sync for your legacy?
Oh no, please not this. I don't want to get emotional, but I am hoping Lashana wins this lip sync because I know for a fact Mrs. Garrison has my lipstick because she told me during our deliberation. I'm praying right now.
Honestly, I'm uncertain about how this will unfold. I don't think Mrs. Garrison has my lipstick. We're allied, but after last week's Untucked, she doubted my loyalty. However, I assured her it was just an act to deceive the other queens. Then there's Lashana, who I know isn't fond of me or the Pretty Girl Alliance, so I'm inclined to believe Mrs. Garrison will win the lip sync.
The lip sync song is Stronger by Christina Aguilera. Both Lashana and Mrs. Garrison had a bad lip sync. Lashana.
You're a winner, baby. With great power comes great responsibility.
Lashana.
Which queen have you chosen to get the chop?
RuPaul, this was actually a pretty easy decision, but I had hoped Lola was in the bottom instead. I am breaking up the Pretty Girl Alliance and sending home Jessica Rabbit.
As it is written, so it shall be done.
Jessica Rabbit.
You are an all-star. Now, sashay away.
This isn't the end of the line, just a new chapter. See you down under.
This is Untucked.
The queens gather to congratulate Lashana and Mrs. Garrison on their win and top 2 placement, expressing their gratitude. Lola inquires who Mrs. Garrison chose to eliminate, and Mrs. Garrison, glancing at Peppa, reveals she chose her, labeling Peppa as fake and needing to leave. Lola concurs, suggesting it should have been Peppa, and questions Lashana's decision to mention her name. Lashana explains it's Lola's time to go, because she's had enough with the alliance. Unfazed, Lola asserts she's staying until the end. Meg interjects, telling her in her dreams. Lola laughs and offers a shoulder for Meg to cry on again. Meanwhile, Peter, silent yet seething, is poked by Lola about his feelings on a griffin not winning the Snatch. Before she can finish, Peter unleashes his anger on Meg and Stewie. Meg retorts, blaming Peter for their loss, arguing they should have chosen their characters. Peter criticizes Meg's portrayal of Lisa Simpson, to which Meg counters that the Simpsons are ineffective characters for cartoon Drag Race. Amidst the escalating argument, Meg declares her departure from the House of Griffin and exits Untucked, followed by Stewie, Lashana, Peppa, and Starmie, who seek to console her. The pretty girls felt much of sadness over Jessica's departure. Mrs. Garrison acknowledged their feelings, noting that even though Jessica said she would eliminate them if she had to, her absence was still felt. Lola confided in Mrs. Garrison, suggesting Jessica's words were a facade to convince the others of their struggle. Mrs. Garrison, glancing at Penelope, remarked that some were indeed struggling. Penelope admitted to Mrs. Garrison that she was trying, yet the challenges proved tougher than anticipated. Mrs. Garrison responded that longevity was no excuse, as she had been away longer than Penelope and had managed to adjust. She offered to assist Penelope in the upcoming challenge, to which Penelope expressed her gratitude. This exchange strengthened their bond significantly. The queens managed to soothe Meg and brought her back in. She thanked them and apologized for the incident. Stewie assured her it was okay, recognizing she was at her boiling point. Meg thanked Stewie, and they embraced. Peppa congratulated Lashana for eliminating a member of the Pretty Girl Alliance. Lashana thanked her and informed the queens that Jessica was just the beginning and Lola was next. They all agreed to eliminate Lola out at the next opportunity, further solidifying their bond. Peter approaches them and pleads to speak with Meg and Stewie. Meg asks what does he want, and Peter apologizes, expressing regret for his outburst. He acknowledges her excellent performance in the Snatch game and how much the victory means for the Griffin legacy. Meg responds that Peter is too overbearing and must relax to avoid elimination if he falls in the bottom. Peter admits he is aware of the stakes but his children are his priority. He seeks Meg's forgiveness, which she grants on the condition that he remains calm. Peter promises to do so and asks if she will rejoin the House of Griffin. Meg agrees, leading to a family hug.